Bringing you the most surprising books I read in 2023, and also a little bit of a channel slash life update, I guess you could say. I gave you a little bit in my Da Vinci Code vlog last weekend, um, but we'll go into a little more detail here. Roll that intro. Five most surprising books that I read last year, and the most surprising book, probably the most surprising book I've ever read, to make room for the graphics, is Window Shopping by Tessa Bailey. This cover looks so innocent, but this is probably the smuttiest book I've ever read. And I read somewhere, I think it was USA Today, had dubbed Tessa Bailey like the Michelangelo of dirty talk, and yes, like, what surprised me was that there was actually depth to these characters. The main character is an emotionally wrecked ex-con because she was her best friend. They both kind of had problems when they were younger, and her best friend was bad news, so she got her in a lot of trouble. She's straight out of prison, and she wants to be a window dresser, and so she's at this like high-end department store, and the grandson of the owner, who has issues of his own, he's like really goofy on the outside, kind of like me, but on the inside he struggles. He's not as happy as he seems, and they fuck. And like, the smut was dirty. Like, it's probably the dirtiest book I've ever read. Sorry. And that includes the erotica from Katie Robert. Like, her smut was a little bit kinkier, but this smut was just straight up. I mean, this was dirty. So, Michelangelo of Dirty Talk, I gave this 5 stars. That's how awesome it was. And it's kind of like straight up 5 stars, not 4.5. I think I give a lot of 4.5, but this was a 5-star book. So I think this was one of the few truly 5-star books I gave this year. All right, moving on. The next most surprising book I read, and I'm not trolling here, guys, is The Frugal Wizard's Guide, or the Frugal Wizard Secret Project 2 from Sanderson. It is actually, because I'm not a huge Sanderson fan, I did just start reading Mistborn and love it. And am loving it, but I'm only like 45 pages in. So I'm not big on Sanderson. I started reading Mistborn in like 2020 because it was on Kindle Unlimited for a while, and I couldn't follow it. And Stormlight Archive I read the same year, started to, made it halfway through, and was just bored out of my mind. Again, that was the year I got into fantasy, and since then I've read just as much fantasy as I have historical fiction, which has always kind of been my genre. Like, until recently, my experience with fantasy has just been Harry Potter and Game of Thrones, the TV show. I read part of the book, Game of Thrones, but didn't make it all the way through. Still have it, will go back and reread it, but I just don't, like, want to get into it when there's no end in sight. You know what I mean? So this one was surprising because I've never read a comedy book, and it reminded me of, like, Brandon Sanderson, I know you're a Mormon, dude, but it really reminded me of reading erotica in that it was fun, it was stupid, there was a plot, but it was kind of lighthearted. There were points that made me laugh. I chuckled at this, and that's what I normally do at erotica too, is I laugh because it's so stupid. But this was intentionally stupid. I don't think erotica is intentionally stupid. But I liked it. I think I gave it straight 4 stars. Trust I gave 4.5. I wasn't really surprised by how much I love Trust based on what I heard. But this isn't about a time traveler, really. It's like an interdimensional novel. He goes to a dimension that's like medieval England, has to survive. There's like a Jason Bourne-esque cop thing going on in the background, which, again, I just found kind of lighthearted and goofy. And I really liked it, and it was the second Sanderson book I'd ever finished, and I read that so quickly. And I'm not trolling here, guys. It was one of my favorite books I read last year. So, moving on, the next most surprising book I read is Seasons of Albidone. And this is a self published book. It's actually written in the style that I really, really like. It's like four interconnecting novelettes that tell an overarching story of this place called Albidone that is completely just decaying. And the sequel was terrible, which was another surprising way, but I think I'm focusing more on good surprises here, but I do have one really bad surprise. And I was just surprised because it was a self published book and it kept up with traditionally published books. And I am currently reading, like, I know this guy comes up a lot. I am currently reading Of Blood and Fire by Ryan Cahill, and that book does not keep up, especially in the writing. It is incredibly overwritten and it's really, really basic, but I like it, but it's kind of hard to read because it's just so overwritten. Seasons of Albidone is not overwritten. The prose is great. The characters were fun. Some of the images it gave were a little comical. This cover's terrible. Forget the cover. It's very, very dark. It's like a Grimm's fairy tale type thing. Like, I went into this, and this is part of the surprise. Like, I'm reading this whimsical looking book. I mean, it looks kind of like the cover for, like, Zelda or something. And then all of a sudden, this little girl's getting her throat cut. So that was jarring and surprising, but I liked it. Okay, I'm losing count. So I said 5. It's probably going to be more because I'm, again, doing this off the top of my head. So the next surprising book, it's a bad surprise, is Sharp's Rifles, I think. I did not like this. I didn't like Sharp. I thought he was lame. And part of this is kind of my fault. I thought he was a Navy guy for some reason. I thought it was going to be like Horatio Hornblower, which I guess it kind of is. But nope, he's a redcoat army man. And this chest right here, when we find out what's in the chest, it was really, like, anticlimactic. I didn't ship Sharp with his girlfriend, and I just really, I was underwhelmed. It was very underwhelming. It's 302 pages. It took me a month to read, so that should tell you something. And okay, I think this is actually 6. I don't know, I've lost count. But the most surprising book I read, one of the most surprising books, I think Window Shopping is still the most surprising, but was the most, like, joyfully surprising, I guess you could say, is The Curious Case of the Village and the Moonlight. And I've talked about this book a little bit. It is kind of like Girl with a Pearl Earring-esque in that it takes the image and tells the story of it, and it's about a guy getting fucked up on absinthe. Yeah, it's about the last lamplighter in this little village that we're pretty sure Van Gogh, we're pretty sure it was like a certain village in France that Van Gogh was painting, and it's about his last night lighting the lamps before his town gets fitted for electricity. So to celebrate, he drinks some absinthe and goes a little nuts. And what made this so just pleasantly surprising is that I literally just stumbled across this. Like, I think I saw it in, like, an ad on Amazon. I was just wandering around on Amazon because I was bored. And this popped up, and I was like, oh, I'm trying to read 100 books this year. This one's short. I can get it done. And I did. And I only gave it 4 stars because I tend to do a little objective and subjective when I review. I don't use Copile because there's so much subjectivity that comes into it. And the reason I knocked it down a star is because I know it's not going to be for everyone. It is very literary. It was actually supposed to be published by a lit mag. They liked it so much that they just published it by itself. It was too big to fit into their lit mag, so they just published it as a standalone. It's just really literary. It's weird, and it's not going to be for everyone, especially because of the I guess, drug use. We can call alcohol a drug. That could be a little triggering to addicts, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, that's why I knocked it down, because I know it's not for everybody, but it was so pleasantly surprising to find this hidden gem. Moving on to a life update. So I have lost a little bit of weight. You probably can't tell yet. On my weight loss medicine. So I've taken 2 doses of it so far. It's a shot I give myself every week. Yesterday I thought it just about killed me. So be careful if you go on this weight loss meds. My insurance did not cover weight loss meds, so I'm having to pay out of pocket for kind of like the synthetic version, and there are quality control issues, and I'm pretty sure I ran into them last night. I had the worst vomiting spell I have ever had in my life. And without getting into too much of the gory details, I spent a lot of time this morning cleaning my bathroom. And it could have been a number of things. I feel fine today, which makes me think there was more going on than just a bad reaction to the medicine. I had actually forgotten to take my psych meds the day before and overslept. So I went like probably 36 hours without taking my psych meds, and one of the medications that I accidentally missed, is one of those medications that makes you sick if you don't take it. If anybody's ever experienced withdrawals, I was going through withdrawals yesterday. So it could have been that. It could have been feminine issues on top of that, or it could have just been a straight up placebo effect. I mean, there were a lot of things going on. So, yeah, but I thought I was going to have to call 911 and go to the hospital. Like, I thought the medicine was killing me. That's how bad it was. I do get sick a lot. So vomiting is not something that's new to me, but having a vomiting attack to the point where it gives me a panic attack has never happened. So that was pretty scary, but I did sleep pretty well after that, and I'm hoping it's not going to happen again. But that was really scary. So other than that, things have been going well in my life. And I've gained a lot of subscribers. It's kind of petered down, and a lot of the subscribers are probably bots or scammers. I don't really care. But it was because my Ken Follett video I made a while ago just kind of went viral randomly, but I think the new subs are probably bots. So that's why my sub count exploded, and my guinea pig Felix has really adjusted well to being home. He turned 2 months old 2 days ago, so he's about the size of the guinea pigs you see in the pet stores. Don't ever buy guinea pigs from pet stores, but that's about how big he is now. He and Wiley, because he's not such a baby anymore, he doesn't so much rely on Wiley to be his kind of surrogate mom. He's more of like a brother now to Wiley, which is pretty cool. I haven't taken him to school yet because he's still pretty small, and when guinea pigs are young, they're named and sharp. And so I know the kids like to hold them, and the last thing I need is a kid getting scratched by Felix and having a parent come down on me. That's actually one of the reasons I don't take their phones, because I'm scared I'm going to break them, and then I'm going to owe a parent $1,000, and it's going to be a big mess. So yeah, so that's what's going on, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Bye.